Ma'am, where are your citizenship documents? The real ones, not just a driver's license.
Excuse me, who asked for those?
People like you always seem suspicious. Let me see proof of citizenship.
The security cameras captured lead ICE agent Richard Rubio's voice cutting through the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport checkpoint like a blade. He demanded ancestral lineage documents tracing back 3 generations. 15 years on the job, dozens of deportations, a spotless record, and a federal pension waiting at the end. Untouchable. He told the woman she needed expired visas from childhood travel, all of them, that they needed to verify people like her.
Welcome back to The Critique. We're jumping straight in today with a script that has, a fantastic premise, but could use some surgical work on the execution.
Oh, yeah.
It's called ICE Agent Doesn't Know Black Woman is a Federal Judge. It's pretty much what it sounds like. A corrupt agent, Rubio, tries to bully a traveler who turns out is a retired federal judge, Katrine Wright.
It's the ultimate setup, right? Goliath walks right into a trap thinking he's the one in control.
Exactly. That's the hook. But here's the issue I have right away. The villain feels fake. In that opening airport scene, Agent Rubio demands ancestral lineage documents.
Right.
Actually had to stop reading for a second because it felt like, a caricature.
It's just so heavy-handed. It tells the audience this is the bad guy, which is fine, but it does it in a way that just shatters reality. There's no such thing.
No, and the listener knows that. So if you make your villain that incompetent, or cartoonishly evil, you're actually lowering the stakes for your hero. If Rubio is just making up nonsense, he's not scary, he's a joke. We need to ground his abuse of power in procedural reality. That's what makes it terrifying. The most chilling villains are the ones who know the rules better than you and weaponize them.
So instead of him demanding these made-up papers, have him actually cite something real.
Yes.
Like Title 8 CFR 287.8. Have him talk about reasonable suspicion because of her behavior or something.
That is infinitely scarier. Imagine he walks up and says, "Ma'am, under Title 8, your travel pattern and loitering near the secure exit constitute a profile flagged for secondary inspection."
Ooh, yes.
It sounds official. It sounds legal. And for a second, the audience might actually think, wait, does he have a point? Can he do this?
It gaslights the audience, right along with Katrine, and it sets her up for such a better comeback. Because if he's just shouting nonsense, her victory is just common sense. But if he's citing statutes, and she corrects him on the specifics,
then it's a battle of legal minds.
Exactly.
And let's dig into that battle of minds. There's a bit where they argue about jurisdiction. The script mentions the airport is Minneapolis-St. Paul. That's a huge opportunity.
The 100-mile border zone rule.
The 100-mile border zone rule. It's a real thing that agents abuse constantly.
Right, because the law says they have extra powers within 100 miles of any U.S. border. But does that apply to an international airport in the middle of the country?
That's the trap she can spring on him. You have Rubio claim the airport is a functional equivalent of the border, giving him blanket authority. Then Katrine just drops the hammer.
Okay.
She clarifies that yes, international arrivals are functional points of entry, but she is a domestic traveler in a concourse that holds no Fourth Amendment exception. She doesn't just say, "Leave me alone." She legally defines the box he's standing in and tells him he's way outside of it.
That is so much stronger. It shows us she's a judge without her having to scream it.
Yes.
And it raises the tension, too, because now Rubio has a choice. He's been legally checkmated. If he keeps pushing now, he's not just being aggressive. He knows he's breaking the law.
And that gets us to the real conflict here, the racial bias. If she gives him this technically perfect legal reason why he needs to back off, and he just ignores it, well, that highlights the bias better than any slur could.
He ignores her expertise because he cannot reconcile Black women with authority.
Exactly. Which segues perfectly into the climax of that first act, the reveal, the moment she pulls out her federal ID.
Oh, yeah. In the current draft, it happens way too fast.
Way too fast. It feels like a sitcom beat. It's too clean. He insults her, she flashes the badge, he immediately just crumbles and apologizes.
Real power dynamics don't shift that instantly. You have to slow it down. You have to squeeze every single ounce of tension out of that moment.
It's missing the cognitive dissonance. Like you said, he can't reconcile her race with her authority. We need to see that struggle playing out on his face. When she puts that card on the table, he shouldn't just be scared of losing his job. He should be confused.
His entire worldview is breaking in that moment.
I'd love to see a beat inserted right before the reveal. The script mentions other agents are there, the Centurions.
Use them.
Yeah, use them. Have Katrine silently watch them. They're shifting their weight, looking at their watches, maybe glancing away. She sees that they know Rubio is crossing a line, but they're not stopping him.
That paints the picture of the systemic problem right there. It's not just one bad apple, it's the silence of the others.
Right. And then when she does show the ID, don't make him apologize yet. Have him just stare at it. Have him look from her to the card, back to her.
The silence there would be deafening. He's been so loud and aggressive this whole time, the card hits the table and all the noise just stops. He's processing. He's processing that the woman he treated as a suspect, she actually outranks him in the federal hierarchy.
And when he finally does speak, it shouldn't be a polished apology. It should be stuttered. He should try to pivot back to policy, maybe mumbling something about standard procedure to save face, before he finally gets it he's cooked.
That hesitation makes her victory feel earned.
Absolutely.
Okay, so moving into the second half of the script, the investigation. This is where the story shifts from that personal confrontation to a, systemic takedown. But we have a major structural problem here.
The Deus Ex Machina.
The God from the machine, exactly. In this script, his name is Jordan Ellis, the hacker. He just slides in her DMs with 4K footage of the incident and a folder full of evidence. And then she finds a box of notes from her old mentor, Thaddeus, that basically spells out the whole conspiracy for her.
It just turns Katrine into a passenger in her own story.
Right.
She's supposed to be this brilliant legal mind, but she's solving the case because a hacker hands her the answer key.
We need to cut the hacker's influence. Significantly.
Katrine needs to be the engine.
Let's look at those Border Watch 47 forum posts that are mentioned. Instead of the hacker finding them and saying, hey, look at this, have Katrine find them.
Okay, but how?
Maybe she's analyzing the bureaucratic language in the deposition files from that old Reyes family case.
Even a consistent misspelling that Rubio uses in his official reports.
And then she searches for that phrase online and finds the anonymous forum posts. She's connecting the dots using her experience as a judge, not, computer magic.
And what about the investigator, Elena Vasquez? In the draft, Vasquez just calls Katrine out of the blue. It's way too convenient.
Katrine should be the one to make that call. She's retired, right? So she doesn't have subpoena power anymore. That's a fantastic obstacle.
So she has to strong-arm Vasquez into helping.
Exactly. Maybe she threatens to go to the press, or she uses her old knowledge of DOJ internal audit protocols to force Vasquez's hand. Like, I know you're required to open a file if credible evidence is presented, so here's the evidence. Open the file.
That gives her agency back. She's leveraging her past life to affect the present.
Same thing with the physical evidence. The script mentions the paper stock and ink dating discrepancies. Don't let the lab just send a report. Have Katrine remember handling the evidence from the 2015 case. She remembers the texture of the paper was off mark, so she's the one who tells the lab what to look for.
That makes the Thaddeus Franklin notes more poignant, too.
How so?
Instead of the notes being this complete manifesto that solves the crime, make them incomplete. Thaddeus suspected something was wrong, but he couldn't prove it. He died trying to connect point A to point B. Katrine has to finish his work.
That's a beautiful emotional arc. She's collaborating with a ghost. It connects the emotional stakes of her mentor's death right to the plot mechanics of the investigation.
And it solves the pacing issue in the middle act. Right now, it just feels like a montage of getting evidence. If she has to hunt for it, solve riddles in the notes, and bully bureaucrats to help her, it becomes an active investigation.
Okay, so let's talk about the resolution. The ending in this draft is incredibly neat.
It's a fairy tale.
It really is. Rubio gets 6 years, 17 families are repatriated, a heavily funded oversight board is established immediately.
And it betrays the whole tone of the opening. We start with this gritty, realistic look at racial profiling and corruption, and then we end with, "And the government fixed everything."
It feels unearned because it ignores the reality of how the legal system actually works. Justice is a grind. It's not a magic wand. We need to muddy the waters a bit to make that ending resonate.
Okay, start with the sentencing hearing. The script has the prosecutor just slam dunk the case. But in reality, Rubio's defense attorney would be fighting tooth and nail. They'd argue administrative discretion.
They'd argue he was following orders.
Exactly. Show Katrine dismantling those arguments. Maybe she's not the prosecutor, but she's advising them. Or she's sitting in the gallery and we see the prosecutor using the very arguments that Katrine prepped. You have to show that the system tries to protect its own.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes this extraordinary effort to break through that protection.
And what about the families? Repatriating 17 families is a massive logistical and legal nightmare. Maybe they don't all get back. Maybe the win is bittersweet. We get Rubio, but that quota pressure mentioned in the emails, that's still there.
Yes. You cut off one head of the Hydra, but the beast is still alive. The Thaddeus Franklin Oversight Fund shouldn't be presented as the ultimate solution.
Show the friction.
Yeah, show the friction. Maybe end with a scene where Katrine is already fighting for the fund's budget because Congress is trying to slash it.
That is such a strong final image. It tells the listener, we won today, but the fight starts again tomorrow. It honors the character of Katrine. She's a lifelong public servant. She knows the work is never finished.
Mm-hmm. There's that line in the text. Laws don't discriminate. People do.
Right, but it's framed as like a victory lap quote.
But if you change the context, it becomes a warning. She says it to her students or maybe to the young investigator, Vasquez, as a reminder that vigilance is the only thing that keeps the system honest.
That shifts the entire genre from like fantasy justice to legal thriller.
Which is what the story wants to be. The so what isn't that one bad guy went to jail. It's that the system relies on people like Katrine to force it to work correctly.
So let's just recap the roadmap here for the rewrite. First, fix the villain.
Draft the fake ancestral lineage nonsense.
Yes. Give him the 100-mile zone argument and real Title VIII citations. Make him a terrifying bureaucrat, not a cartoon.
Second, pace the reveal. Don't rush the ID drop. Let that racial bias simmer. Use the reactions of the crowd and the other agents to build pressure. Make his confusion palpable when he finally realizes his mistake.
Third, fix the agency problem. Fire the magic hacker.
Let Katrine solve the puzzle.
Let her use her legal expertise, the linguistic patterns, the physical evidence. She has to drive the bus.
And finally, realism in the resolution. No utopias. Show the courtroom fight. Show the bureaucratic resistance. And end on that note of vigilance, not mission accomplished.
The foundation here is so solid. I mean, the concept of a judge being profiled is incredibly timely and dramatic. But the execution just needs to trust the audience's intelligence. We don't need shortcuts. The actual law, with all its gray areas and loopholes, that's far more dramatic than anything we can make up.
I really want to read the version where Katrine traps him on the jurisdiction definition. That specific dialogue exchange where she explains the difference between an international point of entry and a domestic terminal, that's the scene that will get people talking.
Absolutely. To our listener, thank you for submitting this. You have a really great protagonist in Katrine Wright. Now you just have to go make her work for it. Rewrite that airport scene, tighten up the investigation, and give us an ending that feels as gritty and as real as the setup. We would love to see the next draft.
Can't wait. Keep writing.
Thanks for listening to The Critique. We'll see you next time.